say the business bad. There are other people's business at once. They complaining things are hard. Other people who are harder than hard. Oh, how I wish people's life would just switch around from poor to being rich and rich to being poor. Cause most of them never know how life stinks down below. They never take time off to see how it feels to be on the breadline. Lord, if I could, I want to help somebody. I don't want need help for myself, but Lord, that's my request. Help me to help somebody. I want to help the poor and the needy. I want to protect the weak from the strong. Lord, oh Lord, I want to help somebody. I cannot afford to be selfish, Lord. That's my request. Please help me to help somebody.
Hello, good morning. By now you heard the song, and you should know by now that you're tuning in to Behind the Badge. I know that you missed that voice for some period of time. Yeah, you're not listening to a ghost this morning. I am back in the flesh, in the real, on the real 91.9 FM. Corporal Lewis from the Community Relations Department. And I'm happy to fill in for my beautiful colleague who is a little bit under the weather today. So we want to send her some healing grace. Hope that she recovers very speedily. This morning I have a very special guest in the studio. And he's special for a lot of reasons. We train together, so there is that natural bond. And he also has strong roots from St. Patrick, so he's no stranger to the parish. And I'm very pleased to have him in the studio this morning. I mean, I'm going to give him that opportunity to just introduce himself to the studio and to the wonderful people of St. Patrick this morning.
Well, thank you very much, my colleague. Pleasant morning to everyone, the listening public, Grenada, wherever you are locked into. Local or abroad, all right? My name is Constable Findley, Detective Constable number 80. I am presently attached to the Digital Forensics Unit under the umbrella of the Criminal Investigation Department. So it's always a pleasure of being part of this meaningful engagement, providing very, very important information to the public as we on a mission, on a goal to increase our awareness, especially when it comes to the field, of cybersecurity and protection. So it's always a pleasure for having the Royal Grenada Police Force, by extension my colleague, and the Digital Forensics Unit on these media.
I must say, Detective Findley, that recently, it seems as every time I'm tuning into a radio station or a television set, I'm seeing your face. And I'm certain that you must be doing a good job representing the Digital Forensic Unit. Now, it is not one of those units that probably might be as well known as or CID or maybe even our fire department. So can you talk to us a little bit about the roles and the function of the
Digital Forensics Unit?
And it's a mouthful for me, but I promise you that before the program over, I'll be able to get it fully.
Okay, so thanks once again. So the Digital Forensics Unit, the acronym DFU, it's a unit of the Royal Grenada Police Force, right? As I alluded earlier, under the umbrella of the Criminal Investigation Department, right? So this unit has been launched in the year 2019, and it plays a pivotal role, right, in modern criminal investigation in terms of assisting investigators in their cases or whatever investigation they may be conducting by simply providing analysis of electronic data. So we are mandated as a unit to assist various departments, not only the Royal Grenada Police Force, but by extension, the other entities like the prisons, the customs, etc. That we assist in conducting that digital forensics and investigation, or the analysis of electronic evidence, which is very, 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 I must say, very crucial in securing convictions and by helping to establish timelines and uncover critical information. That's, in a nutshell.
All right.
That's what you do.
Not only it's a department that is not well known, but for a lot of persons out there, they may not be aware of the department head at the moment. I want you to speak to us about the head of the department and a little bit about staffing, about how many persons that is attached to the unit.
So currently there are 5 persons that are attached, which including the head of the department, who is Woman Detective Inspector 115, Francesca Noel.
I'm very pleased for a lot of reasons when you said Woman Detective Inspector, because I know for some years that was one of the issues that plagued the Royal Grenada Police Force in terms of women in leadership position.
Right. True.
And to see that we have a woman in such a critical department, I think it speaks well about us as an organization in terms of equality.
Exactly.
Right.
True.
So now that you mentioned that, I want to look at for the recruitment of persons to your department, because it's a technical department. We cannot get away from that.
It is a technical department.
And I am assuming that one will need to possess some specific skill set to be able to work there. So can you speak to us a little bit about that in terms of the requirements?
Okay, so in terms of, as you stated, recruitment, you might be surprised. There is no prerequisite, note that I said, no prerequisite to actually enter the DFU. However, yes, certain background checks, must be made. You must be a police officer. You must go through some form of screening, because it is a technical area and also it is a very sensitive, area. So you must be confidential, right? But no prerequisite is required to come and join. But if you have skill sets, let's say in information technology or some investigative background, it can be a plus to assist you in your daily operation. Also, that's one. Also, at the department, even though you don't have the necessary certifications, but you have been recruited there, then you're going to undergo a series of training and certification, right? So the first step is that you will partake in the first responder course, right? Which is the identification and seizure of digital evidence, which is known as ISDE. Now this course is basically a first responder. So there you will learn all the do's and don'ts, what to do at a crime scene. So it involves all the necessary steps that you take from at the crime scene, during the crime scene, and after the crime scene in obtaining digital evidence, right? On completion of that, yes, you're going to do further training. Now it comes the certification part, where you will be deemed a digital forensics certified examiner. And this doesn't stop there. It goes on and on. And if I go to speak about training, maybe till tomorrow, I might finish. But as long as you're there, you continue developing. There's always ongoing training, forever in-house training, certification, just to name it, just to keep you abreast. Especially we see that technology is evolving every day, so you must keep up to it. So forever we always have the webinars, the beats in-person training, online training, once you're there.
Yes, and I'm glad that you took that amount of time to speak about training.
Training is very important.
Yeah, because as an organization, part of the blowback that we used to get from members of the public, a lot of people used to speak callously and loosely as it relates to police and training.
Exactly.
But from where I sit and where you sit, we know differently, and that the RGPF, through our commissioner and the executive, have plans as it relates to the development of officers. True. And we are trained both, as you said, locally in-house, as well as there is regional and there is international courses.
True.
Yeah. So I'm pleased that you speak about that. Looking at your background, because I know that you come from that military background, and now you sit at the digital forensic unit, but just from relationship and the fact that we know each other well, you always had that capacity for that type of technical field and everything. True. But I'm glad that you say that someone not necessarily having that is not a hindrance, but if you have that appetite and that willingness to learn, you will be trained, and then you can get that opportunity to sit at that department. And I think that augurs well for our young people out there, that we have a lot of people, good skill set. They are looking for job opportunities, but not just job opportunities. There are some people that are looking for challenge. And as a force, it is really awesome that we can give someone that. Because I'm certain most persons listening to us now, when we hear digital forensic unit, CSI is what come to mind.
Exactly.
And just knowing that locally we have that capacity to fight crimes, I think it speaks well about us as a force.
Yes, especially, and I like how you actually summarize that, especially bear in mind, if you look at what exists, not only regional but international, every form of criminal activities, I would say, let's say maybe about 95%, 96% of it always involves some form of technology, a device, and the internet. So it is very, very important, as you stated, that we have that capability in also conducting this form of investigation. And also you mentioned that about the training also. And as I rightly said, when I started, trust me, when I was told, Findley, you are nominated to partake in the ISD, I was like, I knew absolutely nothing about digital forensic. Absolutely nothing. As I rightly said, here am I today.
Yeah.
I went there with a mindset not knowing, I didn't want to attend a training and not knowing nothing. So what I did a lot of research and what before I actually got there. So at least I won't be, left alone, as I say, in the back burner.
Yeah. And I'm taking the opportunity to just, share a little scoop with the listening public. I know that there would be some recruitment training coming up. And it's another opportunity for young people who are considering serving in the RGPF. Sure. And I would say that it is a wonderful thing to be a police officer and to serve your community and to serve your country. Now, when we started, you spoke about the reach of the department, and it's not just dealing with, the police issues or police department, but you say that you partner with other governmental agency in providing that, that forensic knowledge and analysis on critical issues. Can you speak to that a little bit more in detail?
Yes, so we partner with other bodies. So for instance, the CSOT, and I show most of the listening public, that one guy, which I always hear his voice on the radio. So the CSOT is the National Cyber Security Incident Response Team, right? Which is under the government of Grenada, the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, the ICT, right? And currently, Mr. Dario Jovis, which I show
I
Mostly
think
everybody.
everybody should know that
Everyone,
gentleman by now.
everyone should know that that name should ring a bell by now, right? And the team is tasked, to ensure the nation's security, right? When it comes to the digital space, right? So he's always, be it on the radio programs, just providing awareness. Don't click the links, the do's and don'ts, what to expect, like what to look out for, how you can process, identify a scam. So we work hand in hand in terms of be it maybe whatever investigation or maybe whatever he might come across for assistance.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad that you arrived there because that's where I want to go next. Now,
right.
in recent times, I think most Grenadians would have been aware of particular. Well, I'm not one of the technical persons, but I'll say it in the terms that I understand it. But they were like a Ponzi scheme that swept through the nation, and a lot of people lost money and was affected. I wouldn't ask you for details on any technical or any current matters, but in terms of the capacity of your unit and organization to assist persons in that, do you handle investigation like those, and can you speak to some of the type of investigation that the unit will pursue?
Yes, we do. And very good question. And at the unit, we conduct numerous investigations, right? So there are a number of arrestable offenses under the Electronic Crimes Act, right? And this act is Act number 23 of 2013, right? And so there are lots of arrestable offenses. You're speaking about the fraud, as you alluded, with the Ponzi scheme. You're speaking about the illegal access, the violation of privacy, the child pornography, right? And much more. However, the most prevalent offenses that we see are being investigated under the Act is the violation of privacy and the child pornography, right? And I must state that we have a good success rate in terms of prosecutions and whatnot, because yes, we want the prevention, especially for our kids, that they wouldn't be, engaging, taking explicit content, or maybe engaging in sexual conversation that can cause, that bring on that spur of that behavior. So, and we have seen an increase in it.
All right. So I think we are in the child month period as well. And Herin, you just addressed that as a particular issue.
Yeah, we need to protect our children.
And it's one more weapon in the arsenal of the RGPF to be able to combat sexual crimes against our young persons and our children and so. Now, we have to admit that a lot of the functions that we do now are being digitized, and
exactly.
You don't need to be a technical person to be navigating within that whole technical space.
Right.
A lot of the government offices and so do require you to participate in some digital type of function to be able to access services. Now, I really, really, really want you to speak on that. In terms of, let me deal with the crime and then I'll go where I want to go. I want to look at, is there a particular age group that is most susceptible to becoming like victims of particular crimes? Yeah.
Is there a
particular age group, whether it's younger persons, whether it's older persons, who more likely to be a victim of, some type of cyber crime or so?
Well, there is no, there is no age group, and I'm glad you actually bring out that, because people are often of the general perception that, okay, only the big shots, if I were to put it, only the wealthy people or the businesses and whatnot that will be the only group of people who will tend to become victim of a cyber crime, right? In that case, no. Anyone can be a victim of a cyber crime. There's no particular class of people, no particular age of people. It's just that, be it what, let's say, we all on the internet, right? Mostly, everyone around the world uses the internet. We have the social media, we have the Facebook, the Instagram, the WhatsApp, etc. And anybody can be a victim, be it to impersonate somebody or what. If I were to put it like that, in a nutshell.
And
no particular age group.
Okay, I can recall some years ago, I think someone they used AI and created a video of a principal of a particular school that was making some derogatory statement.
Right.
And I remember people was asking for the firing of that principal and everything. Because I think during that time, most persons were just becoming aware that, you can use AI to impersonate persons and also and everything. Have you ever come across that type of offenses in Grenada thus far?
With AI?
Mm-hmm. Where somebody would have used it to impersonate somebody or so?
So far, I have not.
All right, so
I can't speak of that we have encountered, anything as AI yet, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
because we see that this is evolving.
Yeah, it is.
Even when you look at Facebook, let's take for instance Facebook. Before maybe some form of app or whatever, application has been released, especially with AI, you'll see everyone tend to, person in military clothing, or they make it.
Yeah.
whatnot.
I watched something recently, as you said, that it was a gentleman from my community, Shantimel, and I saw him in something, so I was like, what, the young man in the FBI now? And then I saw another one, and I said, it have to be this AI thing that is taking place.
Using AI, they write in Grenada, and you'll see them probably in France or somewhere, and whatnot.
So persons have to be vigilant.
They must be. And how can, in saying that now, so how can, in that now aspect, we always urge person, which we have a very good, I must say the Royal Police Force have this bond with the public, I must say that, right? Which is crucial, So once you detect those digital crimes, don't be afraid. Reach out to the police, report it. Report it to law enforcement, station, CID and whatnot, so that some form of investigation can be initiated.
All right, so to the members of the listening public, I hope that you really zero in on this point. If you have been a victim of some type of cyber crime, this morning's program we have Detective Constable Findley, and he's from the Digital Forensic Unit. We are dealing with cyber crime and much more things in greater details. But what we want to assure you this morning is that if you are a victim or you know somebody that has been victimized in that cyberspace, we want to let you know that the Royal Grenada Police Force is well equipped and able to assist you, so feel free to come forward, and that crime can be reported at any station.
Yes, correct. CID, or you go to the CID, or some persons tend to even go to the CSOT, and which, something it might be referred to us to assist in investigation.
All right. What I want to look at, I want you to, in terms of, let's go into that segment of advising members of the public on how they can prevent themselves from becoming victim of cyber crimes. But I want you to speak to the individual, and then I want you to speak to business places on some of the things that they can do to protect themselves.
Okay, so basically, especially we are approaching the Christmas season, right?
Yeah.
And during this during this popular event, persons, conduct vast amount of online shopping, even the business community also, right? So it will be same guidelines that for individuals and also business, because we all do use the internet space. You understand? So we even I say we, because even I do it too. So we conduct lots of shoppings and stuff like for the Christmas. So some of the general safety guidelines are one. First and foremost, and I always emphasize on this one, use reputable sites. And when I say so, I mean stick to established website, that is well known. Like for instance, the Amazon, the eBay, or even large department stores. You could be aware of the lookalike sites, because the bad actors, are the criminals. Once they plot an attack, trust me, it's not something that you could just look and say, that's fake, man. It will be as authentic. So let's say I know Louis, let's say has a site where you sell, let's say maybe clothing and whatnot, or I'll provide some services, and I realize that you are well grasped with the community. Everyone shops there, and I want to say, okay, let me see if I could mimic you, right? So I will tend to create something as close as possible, to your business, that I can actually trick somebody into gaining whatever necessary information.
Visually, if you're just going on visual evidence, that thing will look as authentic as the real thing.
As the real thing, yes. And that's how the bad actors tend to portray. So I always pay particular attention, especially to the websites, right? There must be something different in the character. When I say character, like the address, it might some letter where there is supposed to be, let's say, or something, they might put a 0. Something might be changed, so you must investigate that website thoroughly. That which can allow you to say no, that don't look authentic. That might be a scam.
But you know that.
Look, for instance,
most persons just thinking about shopping.
I know. So, look, for instance, I'll just straight, let's say, I'll go to the region for a little bit. Look, for instance, Jamaica just experienced that hurricane which devastated the country, right? And if you believe that person actually create fake website, like so that person could come and provide some form of donation or relief for the country, but it's fake.
Yeah.
At least the authorities already flagged it and say, no, this is a scam. So I just use it as a perfect example. They wait for the opportunity, and the bad actors make use of it.
When you look at it, and you look at how crimes are committed and the crime triangle, it remains the same for every crime.
Exactly.
Once there is opportunity and you have a would-be, let's say, person that has intention of doing some type of wrongdoing,
right,
they're gonna capitalize on that opportunity. I like how you're emphasizing that persons must pay attention to the address and the website and the everything.
Exactly.
I think sometimes you need to kind of, for lack of a better word, you want to slow down your excitement. Exactly. And really, really understand what you're doing.
Exactly. Next thing also, look for the security indicator. And when I say that, before you're making any form of payment, always ensure, that's what I know a lot of persons tend not to do. Always ensure that the website, starts with the HTTPS. You mark HTTPS, the semicolon // I know
So in the absence of that, that is an indication of what?
That it could possibly be that is not really unattended or a secure website. Also, close to that too, you always see a padlock, right? Close to the the address bar. These also indicate that whatever information or whatever payment you want to use, that it will be secured, encrypted and secured.
So in the absence of saying those things, one should flag it as a potential dangerous site.
Exactly. That that most likely information could be like get out there or whatnot. Once you see that, you know your for a fact, it's secure, your information. Next thing also, while we are not on payments, and I always like to emphasize on that, I always consider the third party payment. In the sense that, yes I know with shopping, we might go to even at the grocery store, we're using these terminals or whatnot. But don't use your card that maybe it's a link to your bank account. For instance, I would have like a debit card, credit card or whatnot, specifically for shopping. So if I know I'm going to spend $500, I'm going to transfer that amount to it. Right? So in the event that this compromised, I know it's not linked directly to my bank account. Also, you can use also services. You have PayPal. I love to use the PayPal. Or the Google Pay. All these are services you can use to complete your transaction without direct sharing of your card information.
I really, I want to backtrack on what you said, because I have a colleague, and she we were having a conversation at the office,
right.
And she said to me, I do a lot of shopping online, but I have that card. So whenever I have to do business, I would put money on that card.
Yep.
And honestly, at that point that she said that, it dawned on me that I don't have that separation. I just have one card. So and that card have all my monies. And I never thought about the possible danger that can come about, because honestly, in my own personal ignorance, I was unaware. But that's one of the important things of having programs like these.
Yes.
I'm sure thousands of persons out there are listening this morning, and like me, they are saying, I need to make an adjustment.
Yeah, you can use the PayPal. I always use PayPal, so that you don't directly link the merchant to your card information. Once you place your order or whatnot, that transaction is complete. They get the finance, the money through PayPal, which is again is secure.
And when we started a conversation, we acknowledged that Grenada as a country, we are becoming as, the wider world, and increasingly ordinary people are participating in the digital space. And so more and more of our transactions are being done through that medium. And you really, really and truly cannot afford to be ignorant, because you're only setting up yourself to be a possible victim.
Exactly.
So we truly appreciate you appearing from your department and, just sharing with people in that space there. I want to ask a question. How easy it is, for example, let's say it is an international agency or criminal that would have defrauded a local person of their monies. I'm looking at your unit and the ability and legality. How easy it is for that victim to recover that money in that space?
Trust me, sometimes it's not an easy task. So, lots of investigations, and sometimes in actually finding that person also, because the bad actors or the criminals, just as how I am here speaking about the cyber crime and the cyber security, just so they are up the game also. So they perform the act, and they will ensure that do what it takes so that they not get caught. So sometimes it's a difficult task in in locating, especially maybe someone might be out there. However, how do we handle these investigations based on if we gather information, as to maybe which country that that bad actor might be possibly, conducting these crimes from. We have now what they call the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime, right? And it's basically just a comprehensive international treaty that harmonize the national laws against cybercrime.
So you can share that information.
Right. So Grenada, I must say that Grenada is now a signatory of it, allowing other countries. So let's say if someone from Grenada might be a victim of a cyber attack, and investigation reveal that okay, that person is in some other country, through that treaty we can share information at a rapid pace to see, and yes, they can be brought to justice also.
Yeah, well, I like that aspect. I know sometimes, trying to bring that type of digital knowledge, there would be some age group that might be more accepting of the information, and there would be persons that probably might be hesitant and think that they are too old to learn those things.
Right.
I know from a RGPF perspective, apart from just the radio program, we like to go into the schools and have that extended conversation and really and truly, shape the minds of our young people who
Sure.
would be our young adults and professionals in terms of your department and your reach in schools and so on. Are you doing anything in that space now?
Yes, from time to time we do school visits, and we speak about create that awareness about the dangers, of the cybercrime, of cybercrimes, and especially as I stated earlier, that we see an increase in the child pornography offenses, right? Even the violation of privacy, which are most of the crimes that we investigate nowadays. So we always visit schools from time to time and conduct that awareness, the do's and the don'ts, which I must say that it has reached some form, of mileage that, they learn and understand the danger, not just being on a device and they think that everything that you do is cool, but as I always say, whatever you do, you always have some form of backlash later down the road, which can always tarnish, your character, which might even lead to, some form of harassment and whatnot.
I want to bring up this point. Now, I know of some countries that practice this. I can't say this is existing in our space, but sometimes a lot of the things that happen out there, companies do likewise. Now, we talk a little bit about, exposing information and what you put online.
Right.
And oftentimes, we say to our young people, be very careful
You must be very
of the
careful.
content that you put out.
Exactly.
Because you may say that you delete it, but I learned that nothing is really deleted on the internet. And I know that there are some companies, even before hiring anybody, they take a look at your social media
Sure.
history and
Yeah.
what you've been writing, what you've been posting. So I really want you to speak to young people and let them know the possible consequences of being reckless with their social media presence.
Exactly. So and you actually hit the nail on the head. And what you post on social media, as you rightly said, even though you remove it, trust me, it's not gone. And this will carry you for forever. And maybe you might be seeking employment as you stated. Sometimes what you post, it might be maybe offensive, a bit what. Trust me, please, it will affect young people, negatively. And look, for instance, now, if I were to go stray a little bit from the Caribbean, you're going for a visa now, the United States
I
visa,
was very tempted to go there.
and they actually look at your social media profiles too. You understand? Because why? Because this is the era in which we are living, that we always tend to post. Something happened to us, we put it on Facebook. We achieve that, we put it on Facebook. You sneeze too hard, it's on Facebook. It's like we put our daily lives out there, and which is, we may think it's a good, we may think it is cool, but the truth and the fact is, it's not a good practice.
All right, so folks, I hope you're listening this morning. I hope that you're listening. We have with us this morning Detective Constable Findley. He's from the Digital Forensic Unit, and we're having that conversation. We're speaking cybersecurity, and we're sharing a lot more information around that sphere. And our young people, again, I want to re-emphasize the point that was made by Detective Constable Findley. Be very careful of the information you're putting out there in that digital space. What you think is joke now may be something later on that may make you cry. Not because you delete that information, it means that it is deleted. There is a scriptural verse that I think it was Paul who encouraged persons, and he said, whatsoever things that are true, whatsoever things that are holy, whatsoever things are righteous. He commanded us to concentrate on those things. And I think that's a very good advice that we can even share now. We do not want persons out there going and then you go for your little visa and you don't,
Some employment
and then you ain't getting through and you don't know why.
because of because of your posting and how it can negatively have that impact on you. Also, I want to speak to the parents also. Right? Yes, I know that there is no single age, right, of which a child being in possession of a device, right, a smart device, because we live in this technological era now, right? Even I see young as 2 years old, 3 years old, actually being in possession and even handling a device. So I said that, and the reason why I stated that, we see that there is no form of age, right, that you attend to which a child usually have a device. However, if, in my opinion, if let's say a child want to be like full control of a device. When I say full control, I mean with full access, internet, what the capability. At least I would say that recommended age will be 13, right? Or maybe while maybe close to 8th grade or high school or something like that. So, but in this era today, we're not seeing that.
No.
But there are some key factors, parents, that I will leave here with you. And one of the main things is that safety and the supervision. Don't take for granted, that my child, your children have devices, and yes, you know that they only look at maybe the little animation or the cartoons or some educational program. Don't take it for granted that this is what they do. Sometimes, so it must be supervised. Always know what they do on the device. You can even set up what they call parental controls, right? So you can always monitor their traffic or their transaction on these respective devices.
So really and truly, parents must be aware of how their children
They
are.
must be aware, because sometimes you're taking for granted that they're doing let's say schoolwork, and they out there communicating with friends. Well, you have Instagram, you have WhatsApp, etc. And by that now, a lot of contents can be shared. As I stated earlier, we see the increase in child pornography. You never know what the friend will be influencing them to do.
And I'm certain there would be period of time where we would have heard that term, child pornography, and we would have only associated that with the big world. But no, that's a conversation we are having in Grenada.
It's right in our back. It's right in our back door. Right now, so just to a reminder, parents, always be vigilant, always safety, and supervising the activities done on your child or your children devices.
Okay, so we have roughly about 6 minutes to go on the program, and I'm very happy if you tune in today and you get that experience. We are in the Yuletide period, and I cannot let Detective Constable Findley go without giving us some tips. But I want to start by saying, we do a lot of awful things. You look at somebody's building and you think that I'm just going to take what I want. And you are unaware that there is some type of camera system up there.
Yes.
And another thing, you think that even if they have it, they do not know how to utilize it. But I was so happy when the program started and you mentioned the ability of the department to take digital evidence and be able to present that before a court to get a conviction. I want you to send a strong warning out there to persons. Let them get it in their head. This Christmas season, do not go and take the neighbor property.
Exactly. Because once the investigation is conducted and it is presented before the court, you will be prosecuted. And yes, as you rightly say, we also do conduct the video forensics aspect of our investigation. Yes, we also conduct that, not just devices.
So in case you're thinking, them men just looking at cell phone, you getting it straight from the horse's mouth this morning. The RGPF is in that position to be able to take digital evidence and present it before a court. I'm telling you in advance, don't break the neighbor property and go inside of the house. If a house is worth $500,000, $1 million, there is every likelihood the people are going to have their camera system.
Exactly.
So I'm giving you an advice out there. Please. Another thing again, because sometimes we get a lot of loose behavior in the public in terms of we have the fights, we have all type of things again. And they think it's business as usual. And I know I'm not going to let out some secrets that shouldn't go out there, but I just want to say to the listening public this morning, the RGPF is in a very strong position to be aware of what is taking place in our streets, and we have that capacity to present that evidence. That is enough for you to, what we say, there's a saying in the police so sweet that say a word to the wise is sufficient.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm going to give you the last few minutes and maybe you can just recap some of the salient points as we close.
Okay, thank you. So just a recap, the Christmas season is rapidly approaching, only a few days. And yes, our mandate as always to provide safety and security, right? While persons enjoy, the season with their family and whatnot. So you will see our presence over there, the Rogina Police Force presence. I must, give you that assurance in terms of be it foot patrols, mobile patrols, visits to business places, and we will forever provide that information, that awareness, in safety. I cannot forever emphasize safety, right? And likewise, be safe online. So how, in your shopping and whatnot, shop on reputable websites, the Amazon, and use third-party payments, the PayPal, the Google Pay, etc., and whatnot. And just enjoy the season, be safe, and let's have a violence-free Christmas.
Yeah, you know, it was a real pleasure doing the program with you this morning. And honestly, I learned so much things for myself, and I think I can join with the public and, you know, just truly just appreciate you for being here with us this morning and everything there. I also send that, you know, and extend that thanks to your department head, Inspector Noel, for allowing you to be on the program here this morning. And, you know, it augurs well for the development of the RGPF as well as that particular program that we have behind the badge. It's truly an honor when we can have all our departments being represented. And the information this morning, trust me, it is very timely. We are in that season. Christmas, we shop. We shop, be it local, be it online. We put a lot of nice things in the house. Plus, we had some information how to protect our children, and I really like that. I also want to just encourage you guys to do more of the school visits. And so we have the issue of the child pornography and children sharing explicit information, and I believe too much information will never be enough.
It will never be enough.
So we truly appreciate that. To the management of the Real FM, we
awareness.
really thank you this morning for giving us that opportunity. It's always a pleasure whenever I'm up in the studio. I'm from Shantimel, stone throw away from the station. So, you know, I truly appreciate the opportunity extended to me, to our commissioner. Again, we thank you. We thank the team. We thank you, sir, for providing us with the tools to be effective and to do our job. To the listening public out there, we are encouraging you to have a beautiful day. To the staff of the Real 91.9 FM, have yourself a beautiful day.
All alone and high, ever since you've been by, all alone with just the beat of my heart. People all around, I don't hear a sound, just the lonely beat.